Hello, and welcome to Garden EA Squad, and today I just want to rehash some things with Brawl. So you can see right now I'm building a Kai card deck, and, there's one person who's asking me, hey, by the way, how you build your Kai card decks? And this is for friendly competition, this isn't for, competitiveness. And the best way to answer it is honestly build to what you like. For example, and if you know something isn't going to work, don't build towards it. Like if you know, oh, well, this may not work, then don't build towards it. Right now, I'm building some kind of token deck that abuses creating tokens. And we're going to be, creating 4/4 angels. And I'm going to go against a friend of mine. So, who plays a lot of mono green, mono red, aggro. And so, usually I don't try these decks around him because I'm more of a control player. Because, that's what I love. I like shutting down the board with everything that hurts a person. But I'm trying out something new. Because, honestly, we're trying to have fun. And the best way I can say it is... Let me find the angels. Hold on. There you are. The best way that I can state it is that if you have fun doing what you like to do, who cares about what you're building? And yes, you may lose. And, I lose all the time. And I get frustrated about losing too. But as long as you have deep consideration for what you do, yeah. So, Tim, this is for you. The guy who's playing it, and he's, I've been putting multiple times his decks. Honestly, the best way to do it is to put a lot of time into decks. And sorry I have to say that. But a lot of people don't understand, I've been playing for 10 years and I still don't know what to put into decks. And a lot of pro players don't either. And so when you're thinking about stuff, the best way to do it is to think, okay, what do I like the most? So I'm going to show you, a thought process, if you will. So this is going to be a deck for Tim that I'm going to battle against Tim later. I'm creating it right now as we speak. And where is he? There you go. No, that's not it. Thought that was it. No. I'm trying to find it. Yeah, Prison Realm was good. I'm completely losing track because I'm trying to find one card. There you are. Okay, so let me explain something. So, keep in mind we're all going to one specific goal. And that is what our commander is doing. And, a lot of people don't know about Commander and Brawl. And so I think this is a good video to bring this up. And so let me explain Brawl to you. Okay? You have one commander, this case, Kaikar, and you're trying to beat down your opponent at 25 life. 30 if you're playing multiplayer. Okay? If you're playing against 3 or more. So, this is the best way I can explain it. Okay? So, I wanted to bring this up because a lot of new players just go, well, I don't really have a good idea of what to do. And so I think this video will help explain what to do. So let me explain the rules of Brawl. A. You, depending on the game, If it's you versus someone else, you start out at 25 life. If it's you versus multiple people, you start out at 30. Okay? B. Unlike Commander, there is no Commander damage. You know, in Commander, you have 21 damage. Well, 21 Commander damage and then you're done. In this one, you don't. Easy as pie. Number 3. Just like in Commander, you can only have one of each card, excluding basic lands. And that includes, like, just normal lands. D. Every single time your commander dies, you have to pay 2 more than its cost. And you can choose whether to put them in the graveyard, in your hand, in exile. Yeah, that whole thing. If you put it into your hand, you get a reduced cost. E. And I think the most important one is E. A lot of people think that, oh, I'm going to win every single brawl match with this easy deck. It's not going to happen. People are unique. People are, have different strategies. For instance, one of my players named Arvin just likes to dick around, and that's how he wins. He likes to cause just terror for the group. And it's actually kind of funny. Another person like Zach and Hunter, another 2 friends of mine, like to play, strict decks that try to get to 1 point. And then you have players like me, who are more like, I want to win, but I want to win on the funniest way possible. Making my opponent draw 80 cards is one of my things. And so, when you're thinking about it, I just realized I made a mistake. I should not have that. I should have a Smothering Tithe instead. Okay. So when you're thinking about building a deck, you want to base it all around your commander. So for instance, this one is Kaikar. For 1 blue, red, and a white, this 3/3 bird wizard has flying. Whenever you cast a 1/1, a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 spirit token with flying. Sacrifice a spirit, add 1 red. Now, I based this off of a commander deck I recently built with the Jeskai Precon, where I had to change out the commander to Kaikar, and I added a few cards from this set in because I thought it would be really helpful. Turns out that thing is near dangerous. Like, I was surprised how dangerous it was. So, let me go through what I'm thinking, okay? In the Precon, you have a bunch of flashback spells. We can't do that here, sadly. Because, not a lot have flashback. Your Izzet cards have jumpstart. And so, it's kind of not even good. So, instead, what I'm going to abuse is copying. There's another streamline thing in my Kaikar deck that has to do with token generation, where we play Divine Visitation, and we turn every single spirit we create into 4/4 angels. And so we build around this. Okay, we have Outlaw's Merriment, which gives us a token, but this token actually comes into a 4/4 angel. We have Dawn of Hope. We create soldiers. Well, these soldiers become a 4/4 angel. There's another one I know. Dovin Grand Arbiter. Every single time we create a Thopter, we get an angel. So Saheeli Sublime Artificer. Those servos become angels. And so you can see the pattern where we're trying to basically exhaust our opponent. And remember, these are non-creature spells. So we are trying to get as much as we can with non-creature spells. I think I only have like 2, maybe 2 to 4. Oh, by the way, I also have Tezzeret because he creates Thopters. But anyway, I just saw it and I was like, oh yeah. And I think it's any token. Yeah, so even like Smothering Tithe, for example, can become 4/4 angels. So that's one of my win cons. Another win con is just outright killing the opponent. We kill the opponent by exhausting their materials to the point where they can't do anything. Another win con is copying. So you'll see this Storm Conduit every single time, like just spell slinging. Every single time I play an instant or copy an instant or sorcery spell, it deals 1 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. So we can abuse a bunch of like draw mechanics and like Niv Mizzet. We can literally machine gun down our opponents. And so I want to elaborate, when you're thinking about deck design for Brawl, for Standard, I want you to go towards that one avenue. I want you to choose your favorite card. For me, it's Kaikar. Kaikar has been my favorite card ever since M20 came out. I built a Jeskai Commander deck around it, and I'm sad that it hasn't been performing well to like its full potential. But at the same time, I think in like a friendly brawl, we can get a lot more. So let me go around my deck and explain my concepts. So remember, we are trying to cast non-creature spells that gets us tokens, and that way deals a lot of damage. So let me explain. So we got a Johnny's Welcome. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. It doesn't say whenever a non-token creature. So every single time we gain a token, we gain a life. We have God's Willing just to protect everything. And remember, this gives us a spirit. And we get to scry 1. Goblin Electromancer. You may ask, well, why is this doing here? We're mostly a Spell Slinger's deck. And so having a Goblin Electromancer means that our spells are now cheaper. We have Dawn of Hope. This is, again, a non-creature spell, and when we pay 4, we get to create a soldier. We got Revitalize. Gain 3 life. Draw a card. Non-creature. Chart a Course. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Unless you attack with a creature this turn. So this is good for, like, turn 2. Through a Possibility. Draw as an additional cost to the spell, discard a card, draw 2 cards. So basically we're changing out our hand. Tormenting Voice does the same thing, except it's a sorcery. Remember, all 3 of these are non-creature. We have a non-creature as well. Whenever I cast an instant or sorcery spell, I put a charge counter on it, and I can choose to draw or deal 5 damage to something. Because, of course. We got Alliance. Whenever I draw for the second time, because a lot of these cards have a draw mechanic on it, I get another creature. Pyromancer. I just explained I gain a lot of card draw. So, it's very easy. Empirical Eagle. This one was up in the air. I didn't know if I wanted to include it or not. But then realizing that most of my creatures are flying anyway, it helps. It explains, okay, so yeah, I definitely need to do this. So it gives all my flying creatures +1/+1. Prison Realm. Takes away a threat. Easy as that. Winged Words. We're mostly casting flying creatures, having flying tokens. So this spell costing 1 less for flying creatures? Nice. Dovin's Grand Arbiter. Creates a flyer. Creates a token. Teferi Time Raveler. This just makes sure that if we want to, we can cast sorceries on our opponent's turn. So say if we're in like a losing position and we get like Deafening Clarion in our hand, and a lot of the creatures are like under 3 power, we can literally torch the board on their turn. Saheeli, Sublime Aura Scissor. I already explained what she's doing in the deck, so we don't need to be here. Deafening Clarion, board wipe. Crackling Drake. It gets bigger the more shit we throw into the graveyard. Is the easiest way I can say it. Angelic Arbiter. Now, this is basically because we're creating so many tokens, if we attack once, it's going to be dealing a lot of damage. Smothering Tithe. More token generation. We tax people for drawing cards, which is crucial because, you know, for something like Expansion Explosion or a higher cost, we're going to need exact mana. So this actually helps us get exact mana. And also, you know, Divine Visitation, blah, blah, blah. Drawn for Dreams. This lets us choose any 2 cards that we need. And remember, non-creature, so we still get the token. Pirate's Pillage. Pirate's Pillage lets us draw additional cards. Easy as pie. Ralstor Conduit lets us do things twice. Heroic Reinforcements. It's basically a finisher. Okay, we get more creatures, and we get to have haste on them. Outlaw's Monument, more tokens. Divine Visitation, already explained what that's doing in the deck. Tezzy, already explained what he's doing in the deck. Teferi Hero Dominaria, this is just to make sure that, you know, we can stay on top. Time Wipe, another board wipe. Ral, grab what we need. That's a very important part, because we need to grab what we need right then and there. Depose, Deploy. This is good for 2 reasons, because A, if we need to, we can cast the Depose and slow our opponents down a little bit more, and the card draw is awesome. Deploy. You get to create 2 1/1 colorless Thopters, and keep in mind, we have Divine Visitation. Niv Mizzet. We have a lot of draw spells, so shooting people for 1, perfect. 1,000-Year Storm. Now, I have this in my Jeskai Precon for 2 reasons. 1, we have a lot of flashback spells, and so when you flashback something, it usually costs a little bit more than it would originally cost, but it gets to do the same effect. In this one, we have a lot of cheap spells that we can cast, and so having, you know, 8, 9 cards drawn, and then casting like Expansion Explosion for 10 is dangerous. And by the way, Expansion Explosion, good for copying if we need it, and good for just dealing damage. And all these relate back to our commander, Kaikar. Because we want to cast non-creature spells. We want tokens. Okay? And the more tokens we get, the better it is. That's why we have Divine Visitation. Is because the more we're getting a lot of tokens. So the more tokens we create, the more BS we can pull off. It was basically the end. Let me go through another deck to show y'all what I mean. So I'm going to hit done. I'm going to go through like my other decks and explain what I mean. So, we got a few here. Let me explain Corvold is Your Daddy. I think it's a nice deck. I'm building a commander deck for it right now, so, you know, it's really letting me brew what I want to do, and stuff like that. So let me explain it. So we have Corvold, and every single time it enters or attacks, we can sacrifice a permanent. And whenever we sacrifice a permanent, Corvold gets a +1/+1 counter, and we get to draw. This is very important. That means with just Corvold, we can kill a person. Okay, so how do we kill a person? We've got Cauldron Familiar. When it enters the battlefield, 1/1 life. Opponent loses 1, you gain 1. When you sacrifice a food, return Cauldron Familiar from your graveyard to your hand. So we have a sack outlet to bring it back. We also have, you know, the famous Witch Oven to Cauldron Familiar combo, where you can literally just sacrifice the cat to the cauldron, bring it back, But keep in mind, with Corvold, that becomes more dangerous. Because you're basically sacking 2 things to Corvold, giving him immediately, if he comes out and we start doing this, giving him 7/7 on the first turn he's out. Scary. Spark Harvest. I put this in the deck to get rid of Planeswalkers, because sometimes Planeswalkers are a little bit harder to get rid of, because they try to protect them so well. And so by doing Spark Harvest, we can make sure that people can't protect them. And plus, we get to sacrifice a creature. So, good for Corvold. Orzhov Enforcer. Now, you may be asking, wait. What is this doing in the deck? This helps with, basically, it's 2 bodies on 1 card. 2 sacrifices on 1 card, which is nice. Priest of the Forgotten Gods. Sacrifice 2 creatures. Any number of target players lose 2 life. And sacrifice a creature. So if you wanted to, you could target you and your opponent. You sacrifice 3 creatures. Corvold becomes a 7/7. And you get to get 2 black and draw a card. And draw another 3 cards because you sacrifice 3 permanents due to Corvold. So Priest of the Forgotten Gods is a gold card. Paradise Druid. We need ramp. He's a 5-cost commander. And plus this ramp is hexproof as long as it's untapped. Pollen Bright Druid. This combos with another card in our deck that I don't want to spoil just yet. So we can proliferate. Is basically what I'm going to say. Woodland Champion. This deck creates a lot of tokens. Notice how I like token decks in Jank. So, we put this on the battlefield, and then Woodland Champion gets +1/+1 counters. And then we sacrifice them. Dread Horror Invasion. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and you amass 1. Hey, look, token generation. And it's recurable. Arcane Signet Ramp. Golden Egg, easy sack, and it gives us a draw. Midnight Reaper. Every single time a creature dies, we lose 1 life, sure, but we also gain a card, which is important. Plague Crafter. 2 things get sacrificed. Cranko. More tokens. And plus, whenever he attacks, he gets more +1/+1 counters on it. So he turns more into an aggro toe. Legion Warboss. Now, the funny thing about Corvold is if we attack with Legion, the Goblin for Legion Warboss and Corvold, we can actually sacrifice the Goblin that has to attack to Corvold. So that way, they don't gain anything, we don't lose anything. Evolution Sage. Proliferation mechanic. This is why the Pollen Bright Druid is so important. Thrashing Bronodon. Sacrifice. And we get to destroy an enchantment. Judas Scourge Diva. Every single time we lose a creature, we get to deal 1 to anything. Mayhem Devil. Every time anyone sacrifices a creature, we get to deal 1 to anything. Leyline Prowler. Mana Ramp. Savvy Hunter. Creates more tokens to sacrifice. Chandra. Her 0 ability to create 2 1/1 elementals has a special clause in it that I didn't see until I was building a Niv Mizzet brawl deck that failed miserably. So I had to scrap that one, and that proves that, states to everyone, look, it doesn't matter how good your game is, if you know it's not going to work, put it aside, think on something else, you'll probably find another answer for a different deck. I was trying to put Corvold a little bit better of a chance in the new standard meta. And I came across Chandra in the Niv Mizzet deck. And this is a good example of things not working out, but you find out different things for different decks. I didn't know you had to sacrifice them. I thought it said exile. For example, one of the planeswalkers, if they die, you have to exile the token. And so you couldn't do it. I can't remember off the top of my head. But this one says sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step. So that's 2 extra sacrifices and 2 extra card draws. Rhythm of the Wild. This is why we have the proliferation mechanic. Creatures you control can't be countered, so blue decks are kind of screwed at this point. And non-creatures you control have Riot, which means they can get a +1/+1 counter or haste. So if we're stuck in a tricky pickle, they get a +1/+1 counter. If we're the aggressors, they get haste. Easy. Dragon Witch. Free sack outlets, and it's also a sack outlet of its own because I can sacrifice any creature to destroy a creature. Vindictive Vampire. 1 for 1. Basically it. Golgari Finebroker returns any permanent I need back into my hand. Vraska Golgari Tween. We get to sacrifice another permanent. And you see how a lot of these things, they meld together. Sir Conrad the Grim. Whenever a creature dies or goes into the graveyard anywhere, your opponent gets to take 1 damage. Keeper of the Fables, we get to draw cards if people get hit. I'm thinking about taking this one out. Honestly. Moldavine Reclamation. Whenever a creature dies, you gain 1 life and you draw a card. Fine to return 2 creatures. Finality for the board wipe. Azani Dalzanide. More creature tokens if we need it. And it's another sacrifice outlet. Liliana Dreadhorde. Another sacrifice outlet, and it creates tokens, and whenever a creature dies, we just get to draw a card. Garruk. Instant speed removal when we have him out, and also creates more tokens. Thorn Mammoth deals with anything that we need to be dealt with. And so I want to draw attention to these lands too. Keep in mind that Corval just says sacrifice another permanent. It does not say it has to be creatures. So, what do we have? We got Field of the Dead, creating our 2/2 zombies for us. We got Fabled Passage that reads we get to sacrifice it. Evolving Wilds, we get to sacrifice it. Cryptic Caves, sacrifice Cryptic Caves. I mean, Blast Zone, sacrifice Blast Zone. So you can see how with commanders and what's the word? Commanders and brawl commanders. You can see how now the relationship between them is all centered around the commander. Usually I've seen 2 decks where the main concept of the deck wasn't the commander, but the commander seemed to fit the colors that they wanted to do and seemed to sift through their deck, so they let him in. But other than that, the commander plays a pretty good role. I mean, let's take it a step further. If any of y'all watched the video of my commander fight with 2 of my best friends, Arvin and Zach, Arvin was playing Nezahal, and like he always does because he's a freaking bitch. Anyway, and I'm playing K&T, Kyrnos and Tiro of Miletus, and Zach is playing Anala, the one with Eminence. And you could tell that me and Zach's deck have 2 different options, okay? His deck is more about getting more stuff onto the battlefield, getting more wizards onto the battlefield. It's a wizard-themed deck. It has to have wizards. Where mine, you can't tell what is going on. You instinctively say, oh, he's playing Group Hug. Well, that's because I'm cooking up a different scheme. If you remember in that video, there was a lot of drawing happening. A lot of people were drawing. Like, We drew a third of each other's decks that game. It was crazy. And that's the secret goal underneath my deck. I want to win by making everyone feel greedy. That's my concept of having people win. Because, honestly, I like people drawing. I like having fun with my friends. And that's usually a deck that I bring when I just want to have fun with my friends. I want to have, a good time with them. They love it. They don't attack me that much because they don't see me as a threat at first, which is very stupid, honestly, for them. Because I just come out of the blue and kill them anyway. But the more times that you start building towards a centerpiece of your commander, the better. And I mean that in the smartest of ways. So I'm hoping that this video teaches a lot about Commander and also helps a little bit about Brawl, because a lot of people don't know how to play Commander, a lot of people don't know how to play Brawl, and they don't know what to do. They see, oh, I got these stockpile of cards, but I don't know what to do with them. Take it to your heart's desire. What do you want to build today? And then what fits with that mold? Do you want to build a deck that does nothing but have Yorvo be the biggest boss he wants to be? Go do it. You want Teysa to just sit back and create tokens as your army rises? Go do it. That's the essence of Magic the Gathering. Everyone has a place, no matter who you are. But a lot of things have been happening recently where a lot of people just like to copy what's good. A lot of people just want to copy what's good so that way they can win and feel great. But are you a true winner if you do that? You can't say, yes, I won with my deck. No, you didn't. You won by copying someone else's deck. That doesn't happen in contact sports. That doesn't happen in video games. I mean, think about back in the 1998 when Dark Cloud came out and Lego Star Wars came out. You didn't copy anyone. You had fun just killing a bunch of things and hoping it sticks, or playing Tetris and, making sure those little itty bitty strategies work. And, you felt glad when you did it. And I think we're getting more disconnected from that, where we're not feeling appreciated for what we're building. We're not feeling appreciative for what we're doing. And instead, every single time we lose, we go, I fucking hate the interface, and stuff like that. And to be honest, it's not the interface that's the problem. Yes, sometimes it can be the interface. I mean, I've, walked into games where I'm like, oh, I'm going to win because, I got good hand, and then the next 30 draws are nothing but Lance. And you're like, I mean, I've been there. But a lot of it has to deal with your knowledge of the game, how you can exploit it, how you personally can exploit it, not how other people have exploited. Because guess what? People are going to find a way around that. And, sometimes, for instance, Oko. Remember, Oko was a big, huge thing in Standard. It was tormenting a lot of decks. And you know what stopped it? People had to get creative. They went, look at Field of the Dead over there. I bet that if we can play Golos and play Field of the Dead, we can have a game that is centered around just getting a ton of zombies out. And you see the problem there, where if a person is pushed to the limits, they will try to do anything they can do to try to beat a deck. So now, I've got a question for y'all. Will we keep following the herd of what's new and famous? Or are we going to take our own strides to success and fame? I'm just a jank player. I love my jank. So, and plus you've seen me horribly lose with my jank, and I go, wow, fudge, I fucked up that last, like, 3 moves, and I should have done that, and I'm trying to get better at, like, thinking ahead. It's one of the things I have problems with, where I can't think ahead. I just like doing things now. But, you know, what are y'all gonna do? Are y'all gonna keep chasing a fad that will one day get banned like Field of the Dead did? Or are y'all gonna have creativity? Are y'all gonna build decks that keen to your heart, your love? And for people who are out there who built decks that they love, and, you know, don't feel like their decks are living up with potential, there's always an answer. You have got to find it. Anyway, that's all from me. So, this is Guardian Squad, and thank you for listening. I hate this system we have nowadays where people, you know how you're at home playing with your friends, playing with your families, and you had, back when I was young, about 10, we bought those precons, those fucking horrible precons. I think the first one we got was the Garruk versus Liliana, black versus green decks. And my brother and me had a lot of fun with it. I had a lot of fun with the black deck, where my brother had a lot of fun with the green deck. And then my love of group hug came from Zedru. And I built Zedru to be that goat mama, where my brother loved dragons and, you know, nickel bolas coming out and, like, eating everything I own. And, you know, it wasn't fair, but I loved it. But now this new stage of Magic the Gathering has been, oh, I can beat the fuck out of you, and you can't take it because you're another person on the internet. Well, keep in mind, they're another person on the internet too. Okay? And the more you think about it, we're all people playing against people, whether we like to or not. We all want to play Magic. So why are we following a fad that we think will work or not? And why not we just have fun like the olden days? Anyway, thank you for listening, and sorry I got to a personal note, but I think somebody needs to say it, because we do need to have fun back in Magic the Gathering. Anyway, see you later. Bye!